Hello everybody, it's Anu for Fun, and today we're going to be going back into our journey of learning how to cannon, and yeah, today we're going to be working on our hammer and our red sand and making it hopefully simple for you guys to understand, and I'm going to be doing my best to explain it to the T, so if you have any critiques or any questions, definitely drop them in the comments below. But let's get started. To recap what we did last time, we made a working 3-second power. If you didn't see the last video, go ahead and check it out. I'll have it linked in the description, or you can just go on my channel and look for it. Excuse me, I need to take a breath. But basically, all we did was we made this power that goes boom, boom, boom every 3 seconds, and it's a great power. It uses infinite boosters, and we explained why we have the 2-tick difference and everything like that. Today, we're going to be getting something on the wall. And that's a exciting part of cannoning, right? You like all this stuff, it's like cool, there's the power and stuff, but I want to be hitting the wall. And today we're going to be hitting the wall. So, what we're going to start out by doing is making a quick little floor like this. And the reason we want this quick little floor like this is because I don't know, we just need it. Now, I could make my hammer come out right here, but my problem about doing this is it'll make it very compact and very cramped with this cannon. So I'm going to make it right here. Now, usually I would go with the more compact route of making a cannon, but I want you guys to be able to see things very clearly and understand everything that's going on. So we're not going to worry about our new camera today. And what a new camera is, again, you don't need to worry about it. But just know these 4 dispensers that you're putting down here will turn into our new camera eventually. But this stuff up here is what our actual hammer is. And I'm going to go ahead and stack that 9 up. So for a 255, which is what we're making, you usually want 300 hammer. You could get away with a little bit less, but I tend to go with 300 because it makes it nice and even and it looks very good on your hammer. And then you also want to bring this out as well. And you're going to want to stack this 14, and I'll show you why. And I'll show you why I only stacked it up to 10 as well. And again, do not worry about this part of the dispensers down here. This will be used in a later episode when we implement the nuke into our cannon. So the reason we stacked it up 10 is because this gives up 10, obviously, and if we stack up 15, that gives us 115 dispensers in total, and 150 plus 150 is 300, and that works out to an even 300 for our hammer, which is what we want. So usually when you get to this point, what I like doing is if you just fall down from the side right here, you could do this, and you get a perfect place to place your first infinite booster. It's a little trick. It's not really much of a trick, but it's a nice little thing to do. And then obviously you want to bring this out. And you could go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you could just cover up the rest. And again, we're just making the same infinite boosters that we made in the power episode. And if you didn't see the power episode, definitely go check that out because I do explain infinite boosters a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead and stack this 14 up. You don't have to, again, you don't have to have this solid obsidian. I happen to like having a solid obsidian right there. So I'll also stack this side up. And then I will also go ahead and stack this. And all these world edit commands, by the way, it's okay if you don't know them yet. You will get to know them if you can more. It's just one of the things that comes along with the with cannoning. You just get to know world edit commands because it makes your life a lot easier. And then now you're gonna want to wire your hammer. And if you're not on a server that has a slash wire thing and does this for you, then go ahead and just do it manually. I showed you how to do it with World Edit, but the gist of it is if you just make these 2 columns right here, you select the bottom, you select this, and then you do slash slash stack. However many, and it should just work. But on this server that I'm on, I could just slash wire and it works. And for now, I'm going to leave this open so that you guys can see what's happening when the things fall. And just like our infinite boosters over here, we're going to need some trapdoors. 1, 2, 3. And then we want a trapdoor right here, and I'll briefly explain how infinite boosters work once more for the people that did not see last episode on powers. But if you didn't see last episode on powers, while we're kind of just waiting and setting some basic stuff up, definitely go ahead and watch that. Great episode. So again, we're just setting up the infinite boosters. Nothing too special. We're just setting up how this will be wired. And now we'll get into the details of stuff now that we're done setting up our infinite boosters. So, as you can see, we have one power, and I'm going to label these with signs. I think it'll make it a little bit easier for you, and it'll make it a little bit easier for me. So usually I typically like to start counting ticks from this repeater. Some people count it from this repeater. I personally like counting it from this repeater. So for this series, we're going to be counting it from this repeater. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this side of our power is on 14, and this one's obviously 2 ticks later on 16. Now, I touched briefly yesterday about, or not yesterday, but last episode, why we have that. And it's because we want to be able to shoot through a one block hole. And the reason we want to be able to shoot through this one block hole is because if it wasn't a one block hole, our enemies would be able to swim into our cannon box and destroy our cannon while we were raiding them. So let's look at what happens when a shot comes through. And I looked at this a little bit in the last episode, but we're going to look at it a little bit more right now. This first power, and you'll see in the next following couple of episodes, you'll see what this first power is doing. We're not going to really mess with this today, but this first power is going to shoot our sand and stuff. Then we have 2 ticks, and then this power is going to go off. In those 2 ticks, what's happening is our sand's falling. Our sand's falling down a little bit, and then the second power, we will call it, because remember, this is on 16, this is on 14, so this one goes off second. This side goes off second. This side is responsible in this episode, for example, shooting our hammer and our red sand and stuff. So our hammer is going to get shot there, and what our hammer does, what our hammer is responsible for doing, is shooting down all of our sand really fast to basically make a sand stack. And what the red sand is doing is because there's only enough sand to stack to here. So what the red sand is responsible for doing is, let me find something that could represent the red sand. We'll just take this, is it sits on top, and if you don't know how to hybrid, what a hybrid is any TNT that's inside of a piece of sand will be able to explode a wall even if it's watered. And that's the bread and butter of cannoning right there. Once people discovered that a hybrid was possible, that's when we start getting cannons that are crazy like this, and it just all evolved from there. But this red sand is here just to act as that piece of sand that the TNT and stuff go inside to hybrid the wall. So let's get into making that. So obviously, when this gets shot out, our hammer gets shot out, we don't want it to explode immediately. It needs to explode a couple ticks after. And although it might not seem obvious, we want our hammer TNT to go off 3 ticks after our second power. So in this case, we want our hammer TNT, so this TNT right here, to go off 19 ticks in total. So 3 ticks after 16, 16, 17, 18, 19. And if your second power was on 20, for example, you will want your hammer to go off on 23. So let's go ahead and get wiring that. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We'll just kind of just wire this up a little bit. Again, it doesn't matter how you wire this. This is just how I prefer to wire it. And I wire things pretty much the same way on every cannon. And you'll kind of fall into your rhythm as well, the more you do cannon. And your rhythm being you'll start to kind of come across patterns that you notice yourself doing on every single cannon. So usually my power ends up on 16 ticks, so I know exactly that my hammer needs to be on 19 ticks, and sometimes I don't even need to count my ticks because I already know what they're on because I'm so used to making them. So if that wants to be on 19, we'll count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And we can mirror that on this side. And crazy enough, our hammer is wired. We have to do a few more things though, because as it stands, our hammer is going to shoot out and it's going to hit the wall right here. Now, that's not part like necessarily what we want, right? We don't want it to just sit on the floor right here and explode right here. No, we want to shoot it into this barrel somehow. And what's a way we could shoot it into the barrel? Well, we have to have a booster. So let me go ahead and scaffold that out real quick. So we have to have a booster, and typically, your booster will be wherever. I'm just gonna put it right here. And you could give this a bit of TNT. You could experiment at exactly how much TNT works and doesn't work for you. I'm just gonna give it enough to where I know it will work. There's no right amount of TNT for this, as long as it shoots your stuff into the thing. So now we have a booster, but let's look at this carefully, right? This TNT, this booster TNT is gonna fall right here and it's gonna be on the same block. This hammer TNT is gonna fall right here and it's gonna be on the same block. If there's two pieces of TNT right now and this one's trying to boost it, what's it gonna boost? This isn't gonna fly upwards. This is gonna try to slide along here and it's gonna stuck at this wall, so it's gonna still explode right here. That's why we need a ladder here. So that when this piece of TNT explodes, this TNT will be like, okay, I can't go any further this way, so what am I going to do? I'm going to go straight up. And once I use up all my up, since I was pushed from this side, because I've used up all my up, I'm going to go directly this way and into the barrel. So let's go ahead and wire up our hammer booster. And you can wire this up as however you want. Again, it really does not matter how you wire things. Just try to make it look somewhat nice. And again, this could be a lot more compact. I'm making it less compact in order to make the video a little bit more understandable. And then we also need one here. And just wire this like you normally would. But then it comes, what exact ticks do we want this on? So what is this actually trying to do? Well, it needs to shoot the hammer into the barrel on top of the step. It needs to do that right before this power goes off. Because remember, this side of the power, this second power is what's going to be shooting our hammer at the wall. So we want this booster to shoot our hammer into the barrel right before that power explodes so that we could get shot at the wall. Let me break that real quick. So what does that mean for us? I'm going to wire this right now, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it once I'm done. Just stick with me for a minute, and then I'll explain. So we know this is on 16. So this needs to be on 15. But we have these. So again, I will doubly explain these here in a minute. But just for now, count these as normal redstone ticks. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right now it's on 6 ticks. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now this booster is on the right ticks. Typically, when you see two of these together, I personally just call them, oh, it's a game tick. blah blah blah. Oh, it's a game tick. Oh, it's a game tick. It's actually not exactly a game tick. It's more than a game tick. It's closer to like 2 game ticks. Um, but basically, these pistons will extend. It'll have a very precise timing that it shoots it out. But when you're making a stair barrel, you have to have all of your boosters game ticked in order to reach the stair. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to shoot it at a point where it's in the crack of the stair, but right above the bottom step, so that it doesn't fall on the bottom step and get stuck there, but also at a time where this TNT exactly explodes before it hits the bottom and it shoots it up. And that's why you have to use game ticks and you have to game tick your boosters and you have to do that so it's more precise. And that's only with stair barrels, but stair barrels are pretty much the norm nowadays. I'm recording this in 2021. They're pretty much the norm nowadays, so that's the reason we do that. And now that this is on the right ticks, we can test this. Let's go ahead and TNT fill everything. And if I shoot right now, nothing's going to happen because the TNT is going to shoot into the sky and despawn. So I'm going to make this barrel and then I'm going to tell you how it works. So when this TNT explodes, and let's use this redstone block as a piece. Let's not use this redstone block as a piece of TNT. Let's use this as a piece of TNT. And let's say there's another piece of TNT on the stair. But in reality, remember, it's going to be in this crack of the stair. It's going to be in this L of the stair, but I can't place a block in there, so let's just say it's like this. When this TNT hits here, it's going to explode. And immediately, this TNT is going to feel that. It's going to feel that effect. So what it's going to do, it's going to go straight up. Because remember, TNT uses up all of its up first. It's going to go straight up. It's going to hit the top. And then because it was pushed from this side, it's going to go straight up. And because it was pushed from that side, from, in this case, the right side, it's going to go directly left until it either can't no more or it hits a wall. And then, because it was pushed from back here, it's going to hit here, and now it's going to use up all of its velocity that it got going forward. So now it's going to go forward until it can't no more, or it hits a wall, and when it hits the wall, it has nothing more to use, so it goes and it falls down right here. And that's what we should see, but we should see our hammer blow up about right here when we go ahead and fire this. And as you can see, our hammer did blow up right there. And we could watch the barrel, and you'll see exactly what I was talking about. And even more so, give me a minute. My game is dying. Okay, I'm back. So I've explained what's happening, and now let's watch in the hammer as well, so you can see exactly what's happening. And we'll watch in this booster as well. This gets shot out. This explodes. Like a game tick before that power explodes. And we have enough booster here to shoot this here and get it to the stair in a game tick. And then it's gonna go up, over, it's gonna go there, and it's gonna go there. But as you can see, we don't have any red sand right now. And the red sand is one of the elements in a cannon that gets shot out with your hammer. And obviously, when you make these, you also do want to check that it works at full speed before you continue on. Because if it doesn't work at full speed, there's a few things that you could do to make sure it works at full speed. So let's let this shoot a few times just to doubly check and make sure. And with this amount of power, by the way, this cannon should shoot about 950 blocks or 56 chunks. I know that off the top of my head because I use this same power a lot, but I wouldn't expect you to know that. But with this power, this cannon will be able to shoot in fusion like this about 56 chunks. And it'll be able to float this way, and that's what we call it when we adjust this way or move our barrel this way. It'll be able to do that about 90 blocks. And again, I know that off the top of my head because I make this exact power a lot. And obviously, if you have a bigger power, it'll be able to shoot farther and adjust farther, but for now, that's good. Now we have to make our red sand. Now, there's a lot of places that you could put your red sand, but it has to be, or it should be, boosted by this booster right here. This booster should also boost your red sand into the barrel. And conveniently, we have a space right here. So we could put our red sand on this side, but that's kind of weird. So I typically like to put my red sand on this side. And then usually when you do that, if you mine straight up, it gives you a great little spot or a little like wedge in the cannon where your red sand will just fit. And depending on what server you're on, you may or may not have magic sand. The server that I'm on does, and it's just implemented like this. All magic sand does is just regenerate, so I don't have to refill every few seconds. On a lot of servers, the command is slash magic sand or slash ms, but if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Just stack this up as high as you can. Now we got to figure out what exact ticks that we want this on. So if, and again, a piece of TNT takes 10 full repeaters to explode. So 40 ticks, 40 redstone ticks a piece of TNT takes to explode. So ideally, right, we want this piston to push out and fall. Like we want the sand to be falling in a falling state as this booster TNT explodes so that it shoots up and into the cannon. Because if this was on the floor, obviously that's just a block and that's not going to do anything. In order for sand to get shot or moved by TNT, it needs to be in a falling state or it needs to be an entity. And how do we do that? Well, let's get our science out again because I personally very much like science. I think it's a underused thing in cannoning. So I'm going to say this is on 19 because this is our hammer, but more importantly, this is on 15 because remember our second power is on 16 and this is on 15. We're just going to count these as normal ticks, but they're there in order for this booster to boost one game, get our stuff one game tick into there. We'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This booster is on 15. So if TNT takes 10 ticks to explode, what does that make you think that this piston needs to be extending out at? Well, if we take 40 plus 15, we get 55. So whatever this booster's at, add 40 to it, and that's the amount of ticks that this piston needs to be on. So this piston needs to be on 55 ticks, and we could do that fairly simply. Uh, let's just do something very simple like this. And I know that this is 17 ticks, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So now, what did this have to be on? Well, if we add 40 to 15, we get 55. So if this is on 22, we go 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. And now our red sand should explode. And you'll see this in the cannon if I go ahead and fire, that this red sand gets pushed out immediately before this explodes. And while it's still in a falling state, it gets shot out. And it gets shot at the wall. And again, the way that I know this is because I know these simple rules of cannoning. Cannoning is very simple. You don't need to know all the concepts, but the ticks are very simple. This booster, whatever it's at, add 40 to it, and that's what your red sand needs to be. So we could even put a sign on this that says 55. It's a little redundant because we'll never see this piece of the cannon again. And then I typically like to cover this in obby. You could cover it in glass or whatever you want. And now we can see if it works full speed, and we're finally getting sand shot at the wall, which is phenomenal. This is what cannoning is about. This is shooting something at a wall, and we're doing it just fine here. And it's working at full speed. And if I go into the cannon, you'll see exactly what I'm saying, right? Every single time this gets shot out, it's getting pushed out immediately before this bottom one explodes, and then going back in. And you also see that this TNT, every single time it falls, it gets shot back up to the top. So you do need this ladder. I'll show you what happens without this ladder. It goes and explodes up there, and your whole entire cannon will get fucked. So definitely have this ladder. And yeah, next time we'll get to the real nitty gritty of cannoning. I'll call it that, but it's not really. It's we're gonna put a sand comp on this thing, and we're gonna have this thing stacking sand, all the way to 255 and everything. And then the next video after that, we're gonna have it nuking, and then we're gonna have a finished video. So we're about halfway through this series now, and you should be starting to feel fairly comfortable with cannoning. And just what I want you to take away from this is that cannoning is very simple at its core. All the ticks are very simple. Once you know the basics, right? So you your second power, whatever this is an arbitrary number. If this is 16, well, your hammer needs to go 3 ticks after your second power, so this must be 19. And if your second power is 16, well, your booster needs to go one below that, but with these game ticks, so it's just 15. And that's what it's on. If this is on 15, your red sand just needs to go 40 ticks after that. And it seems like a lot to remember, but these are things as you build more and more cannons, you'll pick up and you'll remember a lot easier. And you'll start to just get. So if you did enjoy this, go ahead and leave a like and comment any questions you might have at all, by the way, any questions you might have. And we will see you in the next episode. Again, we're going to be making a sand comp, which is one of the more complex parts of a cannon. So, but I'm going to be showing you guys a pretty nice sand comp that I typically use for like 3 seconds and stuff like that. So, again, I will see you guys in the next episode and see ya.